So I would say that in today's generation, technology appears to be like a one-stop solution for everything. दे कोई प्रॉब्लम होता है, अच्छा कोई ना कोई टेक्नोलॉजी होगा उसको सॉल्व करने के लिए. So that thinking process of looking at the basics is slowly evaporating from the students today. So our parents ask us, why don't you have a computer lab? I said, why do you need a computer lab? I said, your kids know more about computers than you and I, and they can teach us. So I would say what we need to show them how to extract relevant information from that as opposed to having a computer lab. Right? How to make sense out of that information, how to draw insight into it. And all of that, even that to some extent is now being taken up by ChatGPT, something like that, right? So the question is, the education, it needs to evolve to develop these senses or 5 senses in order to be observant about the things around us and to feel, be empathetic about it. Technology cannot replace that. So yes, technology can be an enabler and should be used as an enabler, but it should not be seen as a solution to everything.
Yeah, just a quick one. I think technology needs to be used to ensure that the processes that we have for manufacturing, the processes that we have for recycling, all of that, we use less electricity. You know, the consumption is less, hence sustainability is more. I think that's important. But like you mentioned about the Tetra Pak, I think the larger companies, they still haven't woken up in terms of how not to do that. I think that's unfortunately, the money, the power, the influencing power lies with all of them. And it's something which they need to do that as well. And I think we as people, if we say, listen, if we stop consuming as much, like if I need water, do I need to buy a bottle? Can I, those things. And we stop doing that. We stop buying less water, it bloody well will reduce the number of packaged bottle, so and so. I think that pressure needs to be put on as well from an individual point of view.
So regarding technology, the way I see it is, you have a resource, okay, and there's you want to use that resource. Sometimes you're not being able to do it yourself, so you are using some kind of tool, right? That is where technology is bridging the gap. So in terms of it could be a great solution for sure. I'm not completely denying it. But to add to their points also, in terms of buildings, I'll tell you what happens. If you're looking at architectural design, sometimes there is an approach where you're not going into the depths of design than just using technology to whitewash it into something sustainable. Like if you take a building, you'll work on the glass part of it, you'll work on the the fixtures in the toilets, you'll work on the material and all of that. But actually there's a lot of potential when it comes to architectural design. You start with orientation of that building. You start with, you actually need glass or not, basic fundamental questions. Whereas what happens is generally there's a target, you have to achieve like say 50% savings. Then you'll just put something superficially on it using technology. But then even devoid of that, you can make sure that you're getting say 75% savings if you're questioning the fundamentals only of architectural design. So yeah, that's how I look at technology.
I will add to something what he said about consumerism. I would say that conscious consumerism needs to become more conscious. And I would say if all of us collectively say that, look, I will only buy things, most of my things, which are being produced within a certain radius of where I live, guess what? Our consumption will come down drastically. Because we'll start looking. It will also create local industries. It will create local jobs. Our money will go to them. I would think the populace as a whole will become economically better and the environment will become better because we are consuming less. And I think that is so critical to reduce our consumerism.
Sorry, it's an interesting one. So another example, what we do in the village, right, is even till now, I think COVID for us ruined it all. We suddenly had home deliveries. For the last 15 years, we didn't have any home deliveries, right? So we used to go to the market once a week or whenever we wanted to. So we're buying what we need, yeah, and not what we want. Exactly right. I thought I got it wrong. Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah, we take bags, cloth bags. We don't, all of those things. We all know the answers. It's just that it's out there. The solution is out there. I think we need to really, really push and get it done.
So I also actually have thought on this as to use of technology. Being from a marketing background now, I think technology can even be used to educate people. Where we go back to the first point, it's all about Instagram nowadays. It's all about Reels. It's all about, as you said, ChatGPT. So I think these tools need to be put into the right direction, or because we're not seeing too much online about sustainability. What we hear is from the Western countries. What we hear is a lot from the Western countries. I don't know if implementation is very difficult in India because I'm not from the industry, in as deep as all of y'all are in. But marketing is a great tool to actually spread the word. That's where technology can play a good part, and I'm sure with brands like Satyajit's, with a school like his, with architecture of yours, and with education from you, it can be a really good tool to use. Now I'm going to again have an open question. So what are the, I would say, current trends and innovations in sustainable design which you are seeing or noticing in India and who've done some good work? For example, there is Masdar City in Abu Dhabi. That's a green city completely. I had the opportunity of visiting it, and I saw a few products which are actually manufactured in Hyderabad, but they are installed there. They're not yet installed in India. They're installed in Argentina, in Abu Dhabi, etc. But are there any specific innovations which are really, standing out in the terms of sustainability in India right now?
So I'll give you 2-3 examples here. So in my city, now it's again a Western concept. There's a store who actually procures the local pulses from all over Uttarakhand, and they call themselves, and it's actually funded by the Ministry of the Forest Department, if I'm not wrong. So the concept here is that you have to get a jar from your home, a glass jar or a poly bag or a paper bag, whatever. They will not provide you any packaging material over there. So if you are going to buy ration or whatever from there, you have to get your own containers, and that's how it's a refill store, in fact. So the concept of refilling is what they are promoting in that case. So that's one of the things. Second, and again, the ecotourism part. So with a good motivation from the government, a lot of people have started educating. See, because let me tell you one thing, travel is one of the medium of education. When we go out to travel, we are in the process of getting educated by understanding different cultures, getting exposed to different concepts, getting to know different people. In that case, that's the right place where you can actually educate someone. So people are starting with a lot of ecotourism concepts. People are making mud houses, bamboo houses, farms where people can come, stay, learn farming for a day or two, and enjoy and teach the students or their kids, and actually introduce them to a lifestyle which they are not exposed to living in the urban scenario. In that case, these two are very, very important interventions which actually also motivate me to a level. Third is talking about Instagram. Now, if you see any of a good movement that starts, maybe talking about cleaning your city, talking about OLX is an example where you could actually sell your old products instead of they lying in your backyard for no reason. In that case, that's a good utilization of technology in that case. So there are a lot of people. For example, there's a girl who started the cleaning drive of Uttarakhand, and within 6 months or so, she's become so famous that she's getting all the support from the government and all people as influencers. Instagram influencers are coming and participating with the drive, and the drive actually is talking about cleaning the city in that case, and they're actually cleaning it. It's not just a Instagram post that they're creating, but they're actually cleaning the city. So these three are examples where we can actually take the rightful information and start whatever we are wanting to start, and do something creative for the people to actually take motivation from.
No, I think there are a similar thing we have in Goa as well. It's called Ecopostro, where you bring your own jars and stuff like that. We've got one lady who started what's it called? Basically second-hand, pre-loved clothes. Let's not call them. And I think that's fantastic. I think we as people, we just need to shun away from our certain thoughts of can't wear somebody else's clothes and stuff. I think, and amazing stuff, right? I mean, really stylish clothes are coming up, and I think that's great. My only thing is that always think about this, and we spoke about this earlier, is this: are there too many of these small things happening? Is there something larger, something, or or let's say you guys are sitting here, is it something you guys do which makes more impact as single people, So I think that's the larger question, I feel.
That's absolutely right. I think there are a lot of small initiatives. I'm a runner and a cyclist, and I've seen over the 5 years change from when I was running. They used to give me small cups of water and sachets and everything. It has shifted to giving water in a steel glass, which somebody provides and then they take it back, so there is no trash generated. So I would say that there is more awareness of generating less trash, but I think, as you said, at a systemic level, is it happening across cities, so that, see, by the very definition of the word sustainable, it says that you do things today in such a way that it can sustain the next generation as you move along. And I feel that we are far away from doing that, because our human capital continues to increase like this, and the natural capital continues to go down, and we'll come to a point where it is just not sustainable. It's already not sustainable. So,
in terms of trends or innovation, you say that not just in terms of like something material, some product or anything like that, but I've also observed this in terms of people approaching this movement of sustainability, where they've realized that there is nothing can happen singularly. There has to be some sort of a interdisciplinary approach, where they collaborate. They're open to collaboration. They are looking at people, how they can help, how they can add in input, like give input on this, and it could become a more wholesome sort of solution to a problem or anything for that matter. So an approach is something that I have observed. Second thing is, people have started realizing very small things or small habits that they could do at their own places. Earlier it used to be like they used to be made aware, or they were given posters or pamphlets, or like in some programs there used to be some 15-minute interval. They'll put 2 minutes telling people that you do this, do that, making the whole process very informative and just dumbing it down and making it very daunting, climate change and pollution and all of that. But if we could just simplify it and communicate it with people, it is easier for them also to just assimilate that information and actually inculcate it and execute it at whatever possible level they can. So that is another thing that I've observed. So yeah, in terms of approach, I've observed a few things.
I don't know how many of you know the organization called Gunj. They do a fabulous job of repurposing the clothes that we don't use to lovely use. They actually give clothes against the work that the villagers do in their village to bring it up. Beautiful work. I'll give you a very simple example. In our school, there was a vendor supplying food to about 40 students, and she used to supply it in this Areca net plates. And we said, look, we will not allow any garbage on the campus. So the students were taking it back. We put our foot down and said, no, just because we don't have it on campus, it is being taken away somewhere else. Problem still stays. So we said, look, we will not continue this service until you come up with a solution that is more sustainable. After humming and hawing, the vendor came up with steel tiffins, which were in जो खान में होते हैं, and it's been going ever since. So I think that as users, we have to put our foot down and said, look, this is not acceptable. This is the only way that I will accept it. People find solution if they want to do business. I think that is really what needs to happen.
I think that was a good thing where you start at ground zero. So even we've noticed it. So I come from Mumbai, and in most of the housing societies now there are fines if you do not segregate your garbage at home itself. So we got 2 notices. Like I personally got 2 notices because we were unaware of it. We were not educated enough about it. But I think the main takeaway would be that it's supposed to start at ground zero and not later in the day. Yeah. So we've actually got just 5 minutes left. We were supposed to have 15 minutes for Q&A, but we have 5 minutes if anyone has any questions for any of the panelists.
So when we actually talk about ground zero, as a student in Pune, I would love to be sustainable. But when I go and buy my furniture and everything, we buy these plastic chairs. I personally use the bus, wear sustainable clothes, thrift, everything that I can do, right? But when you talk about ground zero, you have to make it available to students like myself who are actually wanting to practice sustainability, right? And then when we think about it, because we have to be cheap as well, because of my budget issues. So how can we how can we go about that, honestly? Because that is where ground zero actually starts, right?
First of all, I want to break your myth of plastic being not sustainable. I would say plastic to some extent is with us and it should be used responsibly. And at times it is about changing our habits of use if we don't find something.
Ground zero for me is in 2 parts. One is what you do as a person on a day-to-day, everyday life, and what you also mentioned. The second is when you go out and buy something. That's what you're talking about. So, I mean, personally, what we've tried to do with Bandit is that our products are affordable, because I think it's important that it's a sustainable design. I don't want to use that word anymore, including organic, but reclaimed designs. They need to be accessible to the public. They cannot be high fashion where it goes into some ridiculous figures and stuff like that. I think absolutely. When you can have a segment which goes there, but otherwise it needs to be affordable and it needs to be sexy. It needs to do tick off all the boxes, for sure. Yeah.
So you have to also look at, sustainability, and it's for everybody, not just for you in that case. So for example, I started wearing white shirts, okay? Because if I buy a colored shirt, it gets fade off after like 6-7 washes, and I have to stand and give talks to a lot of people, and then I have been looked upon as a dean and whatever. So I decided this clever way of, whenever I want to go to a workshop and really want to work on wood, I remove my jacket and work and let it be dirty. I can bleach this up, right? And after the bleach, it becomes again back to its life. It's a decision that I took, okay? My wife taught me not to rely on packaged water and always carry a bottle water with yourself. So these are practices that you do. Also adding to what Sir was also telling regarding, having material available to you is one thing. Even if I make things available to you, there are things available. But you choosing those solutions is always has to be a personal call. Okay, I may not have to claim it most of the time, but don't make it as an overburden for yourself also. Okay, we want the students to enjoy their life and also play with the technology. Because if you start playing with the technology, you would be able to use it and mold it according to what you want it to be in that case. Okay, so by being sustainable doesn't mean that I'm not driving always. I have to use my personal vehicles in most of the time, but I'm using technologies to pull the car most of the time and doing things which I'm doing on a personal level. And also creating solutions like what I did with the Airbnb. Now, if you come to my Airbnb, once you are inside, it's going to be a 3-star hotel which you feel inside. But the practices that are there are going to be, more sustainable than others. Not giving them plastics, not giving them toothpaste and brushes. It's clearly mentioned you get your toothbrush and brushes, because we are adding things to it. We are not giving soaps. We are saying we have a refill where you can actually get the soaps for yourself. Okay, water is there, electricity is there. We're saying we have solar panels. We're not going to open ACs for you and have a genset for you. If you feel hot, please go and stay in a Hyatt or a Taj in that case. So there are things that you have to actively participate in. That's where I clearly mentioned in the start that there is advocacy of sustainability. There is the doing part of it. And most of us belong to the doing part, so we are good with it. When it comes to advocacy, there are, I think, more good people working in this field, and let's leave the job to them, I would say.
I'll just quickly add to this. I could totally relate to your problem. I'll tell you why. Because budget, of course, and you want to do a few things like kudos to you, because you're using thrifting as a medium. You're also exploring your options. So not many people are doing that. But also there is something of like the thought of wearing something trendy, and H&M is giving me that, but it's a fast fashion brand. So I don't know how to just. So that's what I was saying previously, that you sort of need to balance it out somewhere. Because right now we have a budget constraint. Probably 10 years down the line, it may not be there. You will be able to opt for something which is even at, he said it shouldn't be, but at a ridiculously expensive price. You might be able to afford it. But then right now you could just balance out your acts in a way which is the net positive effect is there. Yeah, that's all.
And the problem with it is that it gets discouraging after a point.
Exactly.
You have to also understand one thing, that sustainability with respect to environment is what you are again dealing with. Please understand, your sustainability is equally important here.
Right.
Okay, so social sustainability, environmental and economical sustainability has to be taken care of, together. Okay, we are dealing with pollution and it's a problem for everybody in that case. But you as a student, what is your contribution into it? For example, if I decide as a product designer to contribute onto it, I am doing this for myself, for my own mental growth and learning, but I am trying to create more educative material for it. You as a student, how can you incorporate is what the challenge lies in. But it should not become overwhelming for you to not actually enjoy those things which people are enjoying in that case. And that's not the right way to do it. That's my personal thought as an educator and mentor.
Don't be discouraged. There's only one Earth here.
I think that was a very good closing statement, and thank you so much for being here. And I hope you all have got points, or probably might start ground zero once you step outside. And I would suggest to visit the stalls, see the products, see what people are doing, how they are actually reaching the end product, what is the process involved. I had spoken to a couple of them yesterday, and I was overwhelmed with the process they actually follow to reach that end product. I would suggest that. Thank you all panelists for being here, and it was a great. I hope you all enjoyed speaking about this. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Akshay. Thank you, everyone.